just those like actual what are those things that I need to prove that kind of stuff.
So are you using any of the techniques that you are using for chemistry or bio with these?
It's so hard because it's such a like a different class. Like there's no lecture. We do quizzes every once in a while. It's just a very different like class style teaching. So it's hard to do the same thing that we're doing for chemistry, where they have those formal assessments. Mine are more of like informal little templates that I'm just kind of going through every day.
Are you do the students set a goal?
Yeah.
Is that something that you could implement?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have my like learning goal on the board, but that's not necessarily them making their own goal.
Okay. Even with that learning goal, do you have a way that they can monitor or assess where they are as far as attaining mastery of that goal?
Not really, because I don't have those skills set up yet.
Is that something that you would need help with, or is it just?
Yeah, and it's probably something me, Monica, and Steve just need to sit down and kind of go through, like, what is it that for each of our classes, what is it that we want them to meet, so that way, as they go on to the next class, that's one of the things that they're meeting. Right now, I'm kind of working on less of the, like, content goals, although those are important, but just getting them to be accountable, get their work completed on time, because that's really what's killing them right now, is just getting the things done on time, using their time management properly. So that's kind of like my goal for them, that like every day is like, hey, you have this deadline, you need to meet this deadline, if you don't meet this deadline, what is the consequence?
How about using the verbal and nonverbal behaviors that indicate affection for students?
I'm pretty good at that. Just have a good like rapport with students in general. I can't really think of anything. I always ask them how their day is. One of the things I like to do is when I'm passing out something at the very beginning of class, like ask each table what they did over the weekend, or how their day was yesterday, or what new things, what they have plans for the weekend, or something like that. And then that helps me also kind of like mentally take attendance, because I always just sit there at the beginning of class and take attendance, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I talked to that student, they said they were doing this, so it helps me kind of remember some stuff. Yeah.
Have you had any issues where it's gotten too friendly?
I don't think so, no.
What would you do if you don't think that
happened? Definitely, I always, open door all the time kind of stuff. Just make sure that you're not alone in an area for any given amount of time. But yeah.
The first one was the setting a growth plan.
Oh yeah.
So how is this different than all of that?
These are just my professional goals.
So what do you?
I want to definitely work, I guess it kind of goes back into the goals that I set here. I want those learning goals and those scales so that students know exactly what they need to do for each topic, each unit, that kind of stuff. So that way it's really structured out. What else did I write? Oh yeah, more engaging lessons, and then just that reflection time. That's hard. That's a hard thing for me to do. I always don't have time at the end of the day to reflect on what were the good things, what were the bad things, especially because it's so from third period to fourth period. There's that just 5-minute gap where I'm mostly just trying to get to my classroom to really think about, okay, that went really badly in third hour. How can I change it for fourth hour? Really, I'm just kind of going through as I'm getting my stuff ready, how I want to change it, or as I'm teaching it third hour, how could I make it better?
It does develop more engaging lessons. So have you tried using any of the Hagen strategies?
I have, yeah, a couple times, yeah. It goes okay. Sometimes they get a little, they seem like sometimes they just want to work by themselves, or work in their little tables that they, that they've gotten comfortable with. So it's really pushing them to go out of that comfort zone. Hard thing for me.
Do you find that helps them to get them out of their comfort
zone? Sometimes they just sit there and stare at each other, and you have to go over there and be like, "What are you guys doing?" Besides staring at each other.
Have you tried the grouping?
Yeah. In my third hour class, I did that, and it helps a little bit. Sometimes I think the low kids just kind of gets ignored or their stuff kind of where they're at, and so they get looked over a lot of times. But it definitely helps my mid-level kids to kind of bring them up a little bit. But I feel like the low-level kids are getting kind of lost.
They're still low.
Yeah.
Are you doing the shoulder partners and the face partners?
I don't call it that, but yeah.
The reason I'm asking is because that may help with getting those low ones in there,
Right.
where they can't just sit back and
Right, and like a
be
big
allowed
group
to be ignored. Okay. So is there anything you need from me to help you with some of these, or anything outside of these? 'Cause I know I haven't been around a whole lot,
I'm sorry.
and I want to do that more, but if there's something specific.
Not that I can think of right now. Things are going pretty good in all my classes. Working on getting some of those kids who are failing back up to passing grades and helping them out. It's nicer that I'm able to stay after school now and get some softball stuff out of it. So that was hard.
How did that go with trying to balance life and
I felt bad more so that I couldn't stay after school, but it didn't really seem like it bothered too many kids. And I'm getting like maybe 1 or 2 a day who are coming in for extra help, so just kind of pushing those ones who need the extra help to really come in now is where I'm at. Trying to get them, especially before break, getting them back up so that way they can come back from Christmas break and not be in fear of failing.
I don't have the question. Have you used any Kagan strategies with the biomed class? The computers.
Recently, let me think. We've done a couple labs where I had them, since it was kind of like a weird one where they like put electrodes on each other, I had them like go with someone who they were comfortable with,
Right.
so that way to avoid the I don't want to touch your leg kind of thing.
Right.
But other than that, we've mostly just been doing, every once in a while I'll just kind of mix them up myself. Usually there's not really a rhyme or a reason. Most of those kids are all pretty, I wouldn't say I have anything who's low, I just have kind of like middle and then I've got high achieving. So it's kind of like I try to balance groups out with like couple, if it were like groups of 4, like 2 of those high achieving, 2 of those middle kids.
Have you done any of the strategies with just like for the class building or team building?
No.
Where it's not content?
No time.
Okay.
Which is hard at biomed just because, I'm like behind from last year already, so I'm trying to go through some of those lessons and kind of even abridge them. That way we could get through some of the content, just because this year that content is more important for those students who are going for that college credit. 50% of their final grade is going to be EOC, which I have no control over. So that's content stuff. So really trying to help them, and who knows what we'll expect for this year, since it's the first year they're doing it that way. We'll kind of see next year how it goes, or if that's what they're going to keep. I don't know.
Have you tried any of the other classes?
In chemistry, sometimes we'll do stuff like that. Like when I do put them in new groups together, just so they can ice break a little bit, know each other's name. Was like number 1.
Right. Yeah, 'cause I've had those times where visiting your like
But they were working with.
Yeah, you've been with them all year. Okay. Anything else?
I think so. Can't remember. I think I just needed to write out a couple things. But yeah.
What do you think about the video dialoguing?
I haven't done it yet. But we watched Natalie's and Mary's, and that was good.
I mean, with Jason for your evaluation.
Oh.
Video.
Oh. It was okay. The student knocked over my iPad like halfway through, so I got part of it, like mostly me giving instructions, but yeah. I think with these little swivel things now, it'll be a little bit like easier to get that done. But yeah, cool. Hi. There you are.
All right. That's really all I have. There's something else you
Okay.
specifically want to work on?
No. Since I think it's something.
I know I'm always hard to find, but
Somewhere. Email.
Shoot me an email.
Yeah.
I've always got my phone. Cool. I am purposely trying to make sure I'm in to observe you at least once a week.
Okay.
And chat with you.
Okay, sounds good.